Is
That's
always
right.
is. Shane.
Welcome, everybody, to Panfish Nation along with Mark. I am Lyle, and Mark, a cold subject tonight.
I have feelings which we'll get into on it later. Some will
Yeah,
understand, some won't. They won't like it or whatever. But
but it is what it is. We have a week of this crap, and I know I didn't have it as bad as a lot of people did. Uh, but I didn't. I didn't make me like it a damn bit more. It's just hard.
well,
Um,
this we've had 20 degrees below zero. I know that's not the coldest it's been out there. I know some places in Iowa and I think out by James too has been kind of bad.
yeah,
With wind chills like 40 plus or 40 negative below zero and stuff, and it's just beat the daylights out of a lot of my equipment. Gelled up the diesel in my truck. Sheila's battery took a crap on me, and it's
you
been
know,
pretty bad. My garage door opener broke, my garage fridge broke, and so
I got a
on.
brand new door opener in my garage.
I got a brand new one. Yeah, I got a brand new one coming tomorrow.
I have to tell you about cars. So I was in the industry my entire life, basically, and to make money in the garage, you need hot or cold because that's when they break.
Yeah, no joke.
Hot or cold. One thing before we get started, Mark, it's been so cold that James Dockery needed fly tying stuff, so he went out and killed a couple of Katie's chickens. I think she caught him because I
Oh,
got a message. He tried to blame it on me.
well, at least there's, yeah, you might not get more eggs out of them, but at least you get a little bit of chicken soup out of it, keep you warm, right?
I don't know about the soup, but he's going to dye some feathers, I think. What do you say we welcome everybody into the show, Mark?
He's denying it.
That is true. I got the messages.
All right, let's see who's in here. We got channel supporter Dan Thompson. What's going on, Dan? How you doing, buddy? Downtown Ernie Brown. How you doing, Ernie? Hopefully your doctor's appointment went well. There's Greenwell Fishing. What's up, Mike? There's James Dockery Fishing. How you doing, James? John Boy's Catfishing in the house. There's our buddy Mike Sampy. There's Nina's Kayak Crew. What's up, Nina? How you doing? I see Parker Pursuits. What's going on, Jerry? There's the Josh the Troublemaker over at the Weekend Angler and Wabash Nate so far. Welcome, everybody. You guys are awesome.
Oh man, it's great to see everybody in chat. We try to come up with new and different content to visit about during these shows and things. And the other day when you and I was messaging back and forth about this week's show, and I said, the thing we got to talk about is how cold is too cold, because that day I had -9, and I think James was at -17, and you was -20 or so.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, I don't care what anybody says. I know them people up north, they're going to argue because they love their ice fishing. But I ain't getting out in that crap. I don't have to, and you can't make me.
I don't mind the cold too much when I'm ready for it and tempered for it, so to speak. Like I've had some time to acclimate with it. But 20 below zero is just kind of that.
Oh
That's
my
pretty
God.
cold. That's pretty
And
cold.
I'll bet there was people fishing on that ice.
You know what? I saw a post from some guys I know. They're not friends or not, just guys I know, fishermen. They're out on Channel Lake today, which is a big lake, and I was actually surprised they had safe ice. They were out in the middle. They were in like 30 feet of water, like a quarter mile out into the lake.
Mm-mm.
There's some brave young men out there, but that's one of the topics we'll talk about. It's when it is okay and when it isn't, basically is what the show I think is going to be about. When you agree?
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not going to get on the ice to start with, but you have to know when it's safe and when it's not.
Yeah.
You have to know that. And I know you've done a lot of ice fishing over the years, and you know how to determine if it's safe or not. And even what you consider safe is not safe for me. But that's just me, and I know Josh and Chad, they're like that too. And cold weather fishing is for some people and it's not for others. And honest to God, Mark, my favorite time of the year used to be winter because I could hunt something whenever I wasn't working. whether it be deer or my favorite thing to hunt in the wintertime is rabbits. I loved to rabbit hunt. Had beagles and they chase them around, and it was just a blast. And I duck hunted for years, and it never got too cold for duck hunting. Them snow geese.
Well, if you're in a duck blind, you got heaters going. You got the whole.
Damn right I did.
It's kind of like ice fishing with shotguns. That's what I'm going to call it.
I had a boat set up that had a dog thing on each end where the dogs would set out there covered, and it comfortably would hold 3. You could hunt 4 people out, but it was more comfortable with 3. And one time I had it out, and my brother and my cousin come down, and we was going out on Truman Lake up by Roscoe, and we dumped it in. Mark backed me in, and the steering was froze. And I was floating down the river away from them, and they didn't know what was going on. And I finally, had the boat running, but I couldn't steer it. And I put the blind up, and we had 3 heaters in that, them little round ones you just set up, and it was everybody had a heater, And I fired all of them up, and the blind would go all the way up on both sides and over the top. And eventually, I probably floated 2 miles before that steering thawed out. And it finally did, and it was starting to get daylight, and I had a 35-horse Evinrude on this boat, and I run up there and picked them up, and we got out there and got our decoys set, and birds was flying in the decoys while we was setting them out. It was just one of the mornings, but that was the worst time that I probably ever had duck hunting. But I used to give it hell, but I just can't do it anymore. My legs and feet, and hell, my feet get so cold I can't stand it anymore.
Well, I can. My feet are all right. A couple pair of wool socks, and I got -40 below zero boots that I wear.
I got some of them.
But my hands, I don't care what kind of gloves I wear. I just can't. I just can't handle being out there too long, especially when your hands get wet and stuff. It gets
they do
miserable. Yeah,
you really do. Hey, we got a bunch more people in chat. Looks like.
Yeah, let me see if I could pick out the new people here.
Realistic Fishing is one.
Hey, what's going on, Alex? Realistic Fishing in the house, 205 Wild Catfish or Wild Action. How you doing, sir? Sorry about that. Crappie Day Fish On channel member. What's going on? Doug Andy Outdoors. Curtis Cunningham. What's going on, Curtis? How you doing? There's our buddy Fin Seeker TV. How you doing? Greg Burgess came in here. Houseboat Fishing family. What's going on? Jello's in the house. John Boy's catfishing. Missy Kennedy, what's up, man? Missy, how you doing? And hey, there's my buddy Ryan over at Setting Hooks and Crossing Eyes. What's going on, everybody?
How about Dog and I Outdoors?
I think it's Dog Andy, isn't it? Or did I say that wrong?
I don't know.
I think that's a new one.
It is a new one. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it very much.
Very cool. So, back to the frozen steering on a boat. What's going on, Buck? Remember when I had the scheduled the 1 versus 1 on my channel between Jeremy Creole Catfishing and Hagen Grubbs?
Yes.
That never happened. That was pretty heartbreaking. But that was because Hagen's steering froze up on his boat, and there's just a lot of times there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, no, you're unprepared.
Well, it's not just that. Sometimes equipment breaks, and it
does.
That's my whole deal. I mean, and I was reminded of that with everything that's been breaking around here because of the cold in the last couple of days. That I'm not going to go out ice fishing alone. I've done it. I'll do it only on certain situations. But if I'm going out on a lake, you don't want to go alone, no matter how warm.
Oh, I agree. That would be very dangerous. Now,
and the reason I say that is because equipment can fail you. If you're out there on a snowmobile or something, you get too far out onto the lake or something, you'll either fall through or you got to walk all the way back. And frostbite is a bad thing to get.
It is.
Ask our buddy Rob Chance who got it. Yep.
James Dockery is very lucky in a sense. Man, I hate to say that, but a lot of the places where he fishes, he can be on a dock and drill a hole and ice fish and catch fish. He can. Now,
Yep.
them places aren't everywhere, and he doesn't always fish them places. But Katie is always there really close. If something would happen, she'd go down there and grab him by his ponytail and snatch his ass out of the water. I mean, and then slap him for being on it.
Or not even that. If you start getting frostbite, and let's say you're out there alone, even if your car's like right behind you, you go to start it and the battery's dead, you're going to lose a limb.
Yeah, probably so. Because you'd be the only one out there, sure as the world. That's how it works. Yeah.
So those are, a lot of people will say there's no such thing as bad weather to fish in. It's just bad clothing to fish in. And I get that, but there's always the exception to all of those rules. And when your safety and stuff's involved, it's means a lot. You got people to support, people to care for at home and stuff. You got to keep them in mind. So
did you know that Jerry Parker got out today and laid out some panfish?
I have the pictures right here, Lyle. Let me get them loaded up.
Now, he sent me a message tonight and said he was going to be eating bluegill and watching Panfish Nation.
There we go. There's some pictures that Jerry had sent me.
Oh, wow. He's on them, wasn't he?
Where'd he go? Where'd those pictures go? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me minimize this. I don't know what happened there. My mouse is kind of messed up. Let's see. Jerry. We'll get him loaded back up here. But there was one picture in here that got my attention. Hopefully Jerry's in here too to see it. And you can confirm this for me, Lyle. Let me share this back out here. All right, there they are. Oh wait, it's this picture right here. Actually, it looks like he's sitting on the ice and his man parts are getting awfully cold while he's doing that. Or am I mistaken?
It doesn't look that way.
I was like,
if that is the case, if it has to be one of us, I'm sure glad it's him.
I'm like, Jerry, are you sitting on ice? Okay, that is unsafe behavior.
Oh, it would be for me.
I noticed that right away.
Oh, man. Yeah, but you've done a lot of ice fishing. Hey,
yeah, I'll sit on a bucket, not on my nuts on the ice. That ain't happening. There he is again. Good job, Jerry.
I was so happy he got out. I know Jerry enjoys that, and, man, he catches a ton of fish. That's why I said he is probably as well-rounded fisherman as I know.
Yeah.
Him and James. James catches a lot of everything. And he can catch catfish. I've seen him in action when he done lives, which he don't anymore. I feel like that he's cheating us out of being in a lot of his adventures by not going live and doing them. And sometimes Katie will get a video and send it to him where he hits a dock rip or something. But that's just once in a while. But nobody enjoys that more than old Lyle. I promise you that.
That is pretty true. We had a couple more people speak in here. Let me say hello to him. I saw there's Ernie Brown in there. I did say hello to Ernie, but I mentioned him because Chrissy's in here. There's Frank over at Twisted Fishing TV. There's Robert Modlin. How you doing, Robert? What's going on? I think that's it. What did Jerry say? He says he's sitting on his kayak. Is that code for something?
I don't think so. I think he pulls it out there and holds all his stuff in it, don't he?
I was making a joke there, Lyle.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm trying to read through some chat.
Oh, my God. Frank says, get vapor locked on your crack setting on ice like that. I haven't heard anything about vapor lock for years. It used to be quite a thing with automobiles back in the day. Man, that's funny, Frank. I got to tell you, that's really good.
Oh, Bugman's in here too. What's going on, Bugman?
Hey, welcome, Bugman.
So yeah, I mean, I've up until this year I've ice fished plenty, not a lot, but enough. to know when ice is safe. Usually my rule of thumb is 4 inches of ice is usually pretty safe. Always have my spud bar with me. Spud bar, I know how deep 4 inches of ice is. So, and if I go through on the first or the second hit, I'm not walking any further till I get a measurement. Other than that, I know edge ice is unsafe. It's all learned stuff. I've gotten enough wet boots and seen enough guys go through the ice to know not to walk where those things are happening on the ice. So,
Will you explain edge ice not being
well,
safe?
you got real shallow. It gets really shallow on the edges of any body of water, which means the sun reaches the bottom, which means it's warmer in those shallows. So the ice tends to be thinner on sunny days.
That is not the case, KY.
What's up, Mr. Outdoors?
Yeah. And is that because the water level drops sometimes?
No, it can be sometimes or not. There's all different things, but usually it's just because the water around the edges usually warms up a little faster. You got ice is usually clear. If there's a ton of snow on the ice, it insulates it, so it doesn't do it as much. But snow is a different story. It does insulate it. If there's any heat going in, or if there's a spring or a warm creek that leaks in there, you really got to be careful. You got to look out for things like that. But normally, when you have a warm up, the first thing to get thin is ice along the edges. It's always thicker towards the middle. And that happens throughout the winter, though, too. So it gets thinner, it comes back. Gets thinner, it comes back. Where the ice in the middle of the body of water usually doesn't go through those kind of cycles as drastically.
Mike Irwin has joined us. Welcome, Mike. Mark, I had told you about the duck hunting stuff. We had a blind that we leased a lake, irrigation lake, and we hunted on it for years and years and years. It was a great floating blind. You could move it around if you wanted to. And we get there and have to break ice so the decoys that float around and look natural. Now, I know this doesn't have anything to do with pan fishing. But I never noticed the ice on that lake being thinner because we always get there real early in the morning. And it was all froze hard, and I'd have to break it all up so we could get out there. And then decoys don't look natural. The ducks ain't coming in, and they just did. And that was part of the thing. But once it got so bad you couldn't do that, then you might as well be goose hunting because the ducks was already gone. They done went on into Arkansas or Mississippi or someplace else. So
Missy Kennedy says they aren't even stocking our trout like usual since this ice and snow junk.
How far south is she?
I don't know. I thought she was in West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I don't remember. I think she told us when we had her on our show,
I believe that's what it is.
Okay. Could be. Hey, there's Freddie who's joined us.
What's going on, Freddie?
About being called out by Dieter in his latest video. I would have expected no less out of Dieter, to tell you the truth. Him and I have had that discussion many, many times. And he's a big believer in one fish tournaments. And I still contend that anybody can crawl in a boat with a fishing rod and go out and trip on one fish does not mean they should win that tournament. There are several times I agree that people could actually trip on two that have no clue what they're doing. But you ain't going to trip on three. You're just not going to trip on three of them. So 3 is the magic number for tournaments. 5 is excessive, and he's right because 99% of the boats do not have live wells large enough, quality enough to withstand 5 decent fish, not giants, just decent ones. I'm talking 20, 30, 40-pound fish. There ain't a live well made that can hold them if you catch all 5 of them early in the morning. You just can't do it. So 3 is the magic number, and he can argue that all he wants to. I'll go toe to toe with him on it anytime he wants to go, and I fully expect a call from him. I really do.
Look, there's Chad. What's going on, Chad? How you doing,
Chad? But I bet he's got his fishing reel in his hand. What do you want him to do?
That's right. I got no fishing reel in my hand. Do I got one here? I do have one, but
I bet you do.
I do have a couple actually over here, but we're not going to pull that out. So.
Now he's not going to neuter me, Jerry. I promise you that. That is never going to happen. Missy says she got 8 inches of snow, 4 inches of weather, 4-degree weather. Wow,
That's cold too.
it is. It is.
I'm telling you, I went out today to fill up some tires. It was 2 degrees outside, sun and no wind. It felt pretty darn good. I'm not going to lie, compared to what we had the last few days.
We had 40 degrees here today after being below zero for 3 or 4 days.
Okay, hold
and
on.
It was like a heat wave come through, man.
I'm giving you the emoji behind my avatar.
40 degrees, yes, sir. I was thrilled that it was like that, and just happy as I could be. And we're gonna have some more tomorrow, so that's even better.
Josh, the ACA is inventing the 1v1. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, they have. They're taking credit again. The guy's taking credit.
I'm going to reel myself in now because I'm not going to go down that road.
Well, I just, people take credit for things that they did not invent, and it's just it's a horseshit way to do the fishing industry.
It is what it is. Anyways, back to, is it too cold to go fishing?
Sometimes I cannot resist.
I know. I'm the same way.
Well, there's a couple of 3 guys in here that try to wind me up, and they know how to do it, and I don't mind it. I just don't want to. I don't want people to get upset when I voice my opinion, because if I tell you something, it's what I believe or know to be a fact, and on both accounts on that. So that'll do it.
James says, Lyle, we will go over this all next week.
I'm quite sure we will. And for those
just had an idea for a thumbnail, Lyle.
For those of you that don't know, Mark is going on a vacation next week, and him and his lovely wife will be out, and they're going to have a great time. I'm happy for him. Think it's wonderful. And James Dockery will be co-hosting with me next Wednesday night. So you have no clue what we're in for. Oh, man. No clue. There's no telling what will happen.
Chad over at Fields of Water says, I'll be voicing my opinion on the bait shop tomorrow night. Carry on with your show.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you. There comes a point in time when you have to do things, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not, but you still have to do it, and that's the way it is. This is one and only warning, folks. James and I get on James a lot on here, and everybody knows it, and they all. I'm surely people understand by now that him and I are pretty good friends, because normally the way he talks to me and the way I talk about him, most people wouldn't put up with that if they wasn't pretty tight. And, it really doesn't matter what he says. I just let it roll off one side and down the other. And I think he kind of does the same. He tried to shove the dead chickens off on me to his wife today. And it had nothing to do with them. But it is what it is. And we'll have a good time next week. But, Mark, that's what this show's all about, is having a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's because fishing is fun. I think somebody else said that once.
It's
not all, you know what? Here, I'm going to go off on a rant. It's not all pro staff bullshit and pro staff this and all of that stuff, or let's buy this for 10 times what it's worth. It ain't. It's about fishing, plain and simple. And I want to say hello to Dan over at Goober Time Guide Service.
Absolutely.
A guide service is a legitimate way to make a living out of fishing. So other than that, there we go. See? And there's D. What's going on, D? D says Dieter is not allowed on her channel. James Dockery is number one, son.
Well, whether it be panfish or catfish, which we both do both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that there's what I would call a professional fisherman, unless it's somebody like Broswell that does the shows up north, catches a lot of walleye, and he makes his living fishing. He's a pro. Guys like Dan, there and maybe not Dan, because I believe he still has a job, but there are guides that's all they do.
Yep.
They don't fish tournaments, they guide and they make a living fishing. They are pros. Most of the rest of us, even though I've been told that I was when we was fishing all them tournaments, it was never the case. Them tournaments never funded you have to be able to make a living doing it. And there's nobody in the panfish, catfish world that I'm aware of, other than guides and guys doing shows, that can say they make their living fishing. Would you agree?
I agree 100%. Now, Chad says, did you say Dockery is co-hosting after this one? Mark got fired, question mark. Finally, there will be someone on here that catches fish.
Oh, my God. I take that as he meant you and me both.
No, I don't know.
It hurts a little bit.
That hurts a little bit. That stung, Chad. No, it didn't. I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
Dan says it's a dream one day to. I imagine he's talking about guiding full time.
Oh, I'm sure so.
I'd bet my money that if you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. Obviously.
Oh, yeah. So. The only thing is, and I've talked to a lot of guys that have went from doing things and having, yeah, that's what I thought, and having jobs and give them up. Hey, Eric, welcome. To guiding or doing YouTube videos specifically.
Yeah,
you still have to come up with insurance and things like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Unless you got other means for insurance, you might have a spouse or something that works full time, but still it's you still got to make ends meet. So it's right. Hard to do when you have your own business. I've worked for myself for a long time, and it's no walk in the park, definitely. And I can imagine having to do it by putting fish in a boat. So according to Chad, you and I don't put fish in a boat.
So Josh, don't make me have to call Katie and keep it away from me.
I can, I'm going to have Wi-Fi on that boat. I'm going to tune in. I got to see this. Josh, I think you should encourage him.
No. No, he'll be wound tight enough, I'm quite sure.
Freddie says, yeah, like Freddie. I'm retired. Nina's my income.
There you go.
Freddie's building his tackle empire.
Chad says you can blame Dieter for me being riled up. I'm in a mood to pick a fight tonight.
I must have missed something about Dieter, so
you need to go watch his video.
I'll have to check it out. I just got home right before the show.
Yeah, I know you did. I didn't say anything about it before the show, but yeah, you probably need to watch
that. I look forward to it.
Other than ice fishing, I think that there's a lot of people from my area south that will never ice fish or never get the opportunity to. Even now, as cold as it's been, and we went to Bolivar Day. It's about 25 mile drive over there. Everything's froze up except some of the creeks that had current. There was still a little strip through there where it didn't freeze, but all the ponds, everything's froze over. Ain't no way I'm getting out on that ice, and nobody in their right mind would, because it wasn't long enough, in my opinion, to freeze deep enough. Like, if 4 inches I'll bet it's not 4 inches. I'll bet it's not. I don't know how fast it freezes on the small ponds, but I'm talking about 2 or 3 acre ponds or less. But nobody has the stuff to do it with down here. It just don't happen that often.
Well, you can always do like Dockery does too, and get out on a dock, poke a hole in the end of it, and I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
And he's very successful.
Yep.
But if I'm going to do that, all I got to do is wait a day. When the sun comes out, the ice is gone. I just launch the boat. Then I'm happy. What happened?
I don't know. I'm looking at the comment. I'm trying to figure out what D said here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read that because I don't know what she meant, but I got an idea.
Oh.
See, Frank knows. Frank says 4 inches is safe for fishing, 5 inches is safe for snowmobiles.
Well, I see these guys say a foot's deep enough for or thick enough for trucks, and then you see pictures, and the next image will be of their truck in the water. So I am never doing that with my vehicle, ever.
If anybody's listening to this, whether it's now or after the fact, there is the Chicagoland Outdoor Show in Schaumburg here happening next week. I won't be there for it, Ryan, so I'm sorry, but I live streamed it last year. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of people I know out there. It was a good time. So if you get a chance to check it out, it's a small show, but it's a good one. All the big companies are out there. A lot of good boats to see. You know what's my favorite part about that, Lyle?
What's that?
The jerky and the pickles they got over there. They're pretty good.
Oh, I love jerky, and
but we're not going to get on that.
Yeah. Okay.
So Ryan brought that up, so I wanted to make sure I brought it to anybody's attention that's listening to this on the podcast after the fact. So check it out.
Absolutely. And Missy, I do get off the couch, but I don't have to get out in that cold, and you can't make me.
I know guys who take couches out on the ice, Lyle.
I tell you, I watch a lot of ice fishing videos, Mark, and we talked about this last year. These guys that have custom-made campers, they pull out and leave out there, and you got a hole, and they fish through the hole and drill a hole in the ice, and they just stay in this camper with heat and air.
They're playing video games in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Propane fireplaces, pizza ovens in there.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Those are no joke. Those are a good time.
But if that ice cracks and if that falls through, they done lost $100,000 camper.
You got 10 inches of ice, 18 inches of ice when they put them out there. Ain't nothing. They drive semis up in those ice road truckers all the time. So.
Yeah, that's a show I like to watch whenever I can catch it on, but I don't get to see it much. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with ice fishing that if I was younger, I probably still wouldn't do it, but I would consider it more than I do now. And especially if I could call somebody like just you or maybe Luke, people that have a lot of experience doing it, and threaten them with my life if anything happens to me. You know what I mean?
Luke drives his truck out there. You'll be all right up there.
Big cojones, man. Big cojones. Because Luke's got a pretty nice truck. But, you know, I still say the best thing in the world is to drive your truck out, pull the boat on the trailer, you fish out of the truck, out of the boat, and if it falls through, you can still float. I'm pretty good with that.
I'm telling you what, Lyle, if I move north, I'm getting me one of them 6-wheel Argos with tracks that float.
Yeah.
And I'll be all over the ice in that thing. Make sure it's got a canvas top and a heater, and I'm good to go.
One of the guys in our duck blind lease, there was 4 of us in this lease. One of the guys, Greg, he had one of those, and he left it. It was a mile walk from the place we parked the trucks on when it was muddy. Now, if it's froze up or if it's dry, we just drive back there and park underneath the trees, and we was good to go. But they had a shed. They let him keep that Argo there. And he'd bail off in that pond if there was ice on there, and he'd just chew the ice up.
Yeah.
We didn't have to get out in there. That was it would run faster than you think, too. But, those would be kind of fun. He's the only one I've ever been around, and he kept it in perfect condition because he had a little disability, the heel on one of his feet. But yeah, man, oh man, it was an amazing thing. And the first time I seen him bail off in the water, I would have bet good money it would have sunk, but it didn't. It just kept going.
They just float. They float right on by. drive them all over the place. Pretty cool stuff. I've seen them a couple of times out here on the ice. I see guys out there in like the big side-by-sides down here and snowmobiles, obviously, but never, I have yet to see vehicles like cars and trucks out here. We had Brian Brosdale on the show, and he's a guide up there in Minnesota, and he has a Suburban on tracks. That he poked holes in the floorboard so his clients can fish inside the Suburban if they want.
Yeah. He's a cool dude. We should get him back on here.
100%. He's a good guy. I talk to him once in a while.
Good guy, and does a lot of things for the fishing industry. And he's really a great walleye fisherman. He fishes for bluegill and crappie and a lot of other stuff. And very successful guide. One of the greats in the sport.
Ice fishing is his thing, though. And back to our question, is it ever too cold? I mean, you go 200 miles north of here, and they'll let you know that, no, it's never too cold to go.
I'm quite sure you're right. And
they live for it up there. They wait for it.
I have a cousin. Her name is Debbie. She lives on one of the lakes outside of Ontario, I believe it is. She was born in Kansas City, but her Uncle David got transferred up there to a big plant, which he managed until he retired. But Debbie lives on this lake, and it's been froze over for some times. And every morning she makes a post, good morning and all this, and she takes a lot of pictures of that lake. They have a dock on it. Of course, it's frozen too right now, but they fish off the dock, and she gets a lot of wildlife pictures and stuff of her family going down there and playing in the water and skating on the ice and all kinds of stuff. And that's all fine and dandy, but she's still probably 20 below. So, yeah, I'm not interested in none of that action.
RJC Outdoors, welcome. He says, ice fishing in a hub shack is quite the experience in negative 20 degrees. I live for it. So much fun testing the limit of your comfort. Ice fishing or ice camping's a cool deal. I just don't have any places out here where I can do it, but I've definitely wanted to do that. So I got the gear and the equipment, or at least I did for the most part. But yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Frank said he had a truck go through the ice on Snow Lake last year. Guy was drunk and gave it a go.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that's it. Sonny Parker says the ice is as thick as Dockery is tall.
Jerry says Mississippi River here is almost clogged with ice. Wow, I didn't realize it got that.
I didn't know it clogged that far down. I know. My experience with the Mississippi River is where there's a lot of dams, and what happens is the ice will float down and it'll get stopped up behind the dam as it's going down river, and then it just keeps piling up behind it until it's solid, and then the pieces freeze together. And they have to wait to open them up to flush that stuff out of there in the spring. But it's a pain in the butt. And one of the places when it was really cold and everything was froze up, you could go to Clarksville and put in there at the boat club because it's below the Clarksville Dam. And right below that, it would be froze up below it too. But a lot of times you could dump your boat off in there and go up and fish around the dam and below it and be able to fish out of a boat. But you couldn't go down river very far because, again, it was backed up from the Winfield Dam. So get a load of this, Mark. It has been 30 below wind chill here and 13 inches of snow. Sonny, if it's got to be one of us, my friend, I am so glad it's you and not me.
Sonny, we got the same weather here, man. This whole week has been like that, so I can relate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Uncle Lou got the same temps and stuff, but he got a little more snow than what we got. So
I've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had much snow now. I know up where James lived, they got a ton of it. He deserves it. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it. I hate it for Katie. I really do. But James deserves it. He's the one wanted all this cold so the water freeze. And he's got it. So
I'm not claiming to have the most snow, but I got enough snow. That's all I know. I measured. I took the tape measure out there because my dad wanted to know how much we had out in the yard, and I measured 14 inches in the front on average. So,
woo, we don't have any. It's all gone.
It's funny you mention that. It's supposed to rain and be in the upper 30s all next week, so this is all going to melt. So,
yeah, but hey, we need the runoff for all the lakes, ponds, and rivers. So if that happens everywhere, I won't be sad because all of our lakes down here are really, really low. And Eric Massey will attest to that because he's probably been on all of them, and I've been around all of them. All of our rivers, even the Missouri and Mississippi rivers, are way lower than they ever should be this time of year. So, we need the runoff. So if it'll rain for a week and melt this, then we get some more and it happen again. That'd be outstanding as far as I'm concerned.
RJC Outdoor says, what's your comfort temperature? Lowest temperature you feel comfortable fishing? It depends what kind of fishing. If I'm like downtown on Lake Michigan, which I have been, 10 degrees is bitter cold with that wind coming off of that lake. And if I'm down there fishing, it's usually with live minnows or something. Your hands are getting wet and stuff. I'm good for about 3 hours there. If I'm in a shanty out on the ice, I've fished in 20, 30 below zero. I've done that. It's getting out there and getting set up. That's the hard part. That's what's bitter. So
I'm sure. Now for me, I'm pretty comfortable if the wind's not blowing too bad in the boat, in the low 30s, high 20s, low 30s, something like that. I don't like breaking ice. I have done it before a number of times. You run your boat up on it, let it fall through, run your boat up on it, and let it fall through, and you can push your way out to the middle of a channel where there probably is no ice and go on. But I prefer it to be I would prefer it to be in the mid 30s or higher. But, we got heaters, an enclosure. We got the stuff. It's just not comfortable. I don't like being out there when it's like that because, even if it's in a boat, if you have trouble, you still got to figure out how you're going to get back in.
Yeah, I've fished during the summer or late summer, early summer at the beginning or the end of the season where it was like 85, 90 degrees all day. And then I'm out there late into the night and it drops to the 50s and I'm shivering cold.
Yeah.
I'll put on a hoodie and a rain jacket and I'm still freezing. I think a lot has to do with what your temperature and how long you've been dealing with those temps.
That's right.
And so what? So it depends for me. So 922 Crappie Barbecue says 35 is the lowest he'll go.
Greg Burgess says from Louisiana tomorrow, 68 might be back in the 30s. There's pictures where we fished tournaments and takeoff was really, really cold. We was all bundled up. And Sonny Parker and Cindy and I fished a tournament over in Lexington, Missouri, and the windshield has so much ice on it. Sonny had brought a heater and I had a heater, and we had them both going with the top on the boat so we could thaw out the windshield that morning. It was froze solid. Oh, my God, it was horrible. But we went out and fished, and you know what, Mark? The sun come out, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it was cold, but it wasn't bad at all. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
It's good. Yeah, the sun will warm you up most definitely.
It did. We didn't catch any fish, or if we did, we wasn't enough to get a place. I don't remember now, but I'm not sure we even caught one. But we had a great time. And, anybody ever gets a chance to fish with Sonny Parker, it is an honor and a privilege. I'm telling you, the man knows his stuff, and you will be thoroughly entertained.
Turner Fishing, what's going on? I used to be able to fish in the 20s in shorts and think once you hit in shorts, but I think once you hit 30, that goes away. I'm freezing and it's only in the 20s. I'm sure confirming that. It says that happens when you get old, Lyle and Mark. Just saying. I agree. I don't know what else to say.
The cold. Like I say, winter. I couldn't wait for winter every year. Of course, a lot of times we was going to Colorado elk hunting and deer hunting, which I dearly love that. And it's cold up in them mountains. You're packing in on horseback and setting up a tent with a wood stove in it. Most of the time, the doors won't stay shut on the tent and it's blowing open. And You got to get up in the middle of the night and put wood in the stove. I mean, I loved that. That was my favorite time of the year. But about the time I hit 50, it started slowing down on me. And then when Mom got bad, we had a place up North Missouri, where it's just down the road from Cindy's brother. And hello, dog. And I started deer hunting again. I hadn't deer hunted in a lot of years. And I started deer hunting, and I could walk out the back door, and in 5 minutes, honest to God, 5 minutes, I'd be in my deer blind, set up, and I hunt all as long as I wanted to, and then I just walk back to the house. I thought
you said you just shoot them off your back porch. I was waiting for you to say that.
Well, I could have, but them was just does, and I wasn't interested in them because up there they got big deer up north. They really do. And but yeah, and that was 8 years ago. I haven't even shot a gun since then, except my pellet rifle. And we're not going to get into that.
Jerry must have been sitting on that ice.
He must have been.
His brains are in his ass.
Something wrong with him. We had Jerry on Catfish Weekly a couple of weeks ago. Man, if he wasn't a hoot, we had a blast with him. I was so glad that he joined us. But after him catching all these panfish today, maybe he needs to join us on here one Wednesday night. We talk about how his ice fishing escapades went.
Sure, Jerry, come on. We'll have him on in a couple of weeks.
Frank says, I've fallen through the ice several times, so I know what to expect, but it sucks bad.
It does.
I'm sure it does. Pro tip, always take a full set of dry clothes. That right there is a great idea. And it doesn't matter if you're in a boat or if you're ice fishing or what. When the weather is cold and wet and rainy or snowy or whatever the case is, you should always have extra dry clothes to put on, because if you don't, you're in for a miserable time. It's just the way it is.
Always keep a fresh set of clothes in the car, especially when you're going out fishing or whatever. It's a good thing to do. I got a extra set in the boat all the time. So
yeah, that's a great idea. Will you stop? You're not even supposed to be in here. I'm mad at you.
Ryan says small deer is a big deer to most where he lives. Mark's small, yeah.
Yeah, Illinois, Missouri, up north, and then especially in the northern parts, a lot of big deer. A lot of big deer.
Maybe one of these days I'll get out and I'll finally hunt. I just never had the opportunity, so
that
would be a cool thing to do.
This is before I used to do it all the time, like I say, but before you and I was friends, I used to do a lot of hunting, and now all I do basically is fish. I even have a rabbit cage in my backyard to grow tame rabbits, and can't find the ones I want. I want New Zealand's and Californians because they're all white. I like to eat them. They're very tasty, but the reason I want the white is because, well, you can dye the fur and use it to build jigs with.
You get some Hassenpfeffer and jig material out of it.
That's right. It'd be like James killing Katie's chickens. Sonny Parker says he keeps a full set of clothes in the boat that are vacuum sealed package. That is a outstanding idea, Sonny. I don't think we have any in the boat. I don't remember. Of course, a lot of the stuff been taken out right now because of the snow and things. But vacuum sealing clothes will make that package so small you can put it anywhere, and those clothes will be dry.
Yep.
That's an outstanding post that you made. Outstanding.
James Dockery Fishing says those clothes didn't do you any good when you fell out of the boat, Sonny. I forgot about that.
James picks no favorites. He'll pick on anybody.
Yeah, this is true. ZFG.
That's 100%. 100%. Oh, Sonny, I'm sorry. It might have been the days that I left the phone out in the garage, forgot to bring it in here. And then it ran down because I didn't heat the garage. It was cold. It took me a day to charge the battery back up. I'm not like these kids. I don't run around holding on that phone all the time. And if I hear it ring, I'm usually in the other room anyhow, and I can't get to it before it was ringing. It's just not that important to me. Hey, Sean, welcome, buddy.
What's going on, Sean T? How you doing?
I'm surprised Jeremy's not in here from Creole Catfishing. He always likes to comment on the cold weather aspect because he rarely has cold weather.
Well, you know, this is where Sonny Parker says clothes for Dockery are about the size of Barbie doll clothes. And Dockery says it's Ken. Only reason why I read them out loud, Lyles, because this doesn't go to audio podcast and they need to know what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, man.
Missy, have a good night. Stay warm, stay safe, enjoy your meal. It sounds pretty good.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Missy. We miss you if you was gone. I promise you. We
100%.
enjoy your comments every week. Oh, man. Hasbro jeans. I'm not sure. They used to be
Hasbro. Doesn't Hasbro make Barbie dolls?
Well, they make toys. I don't know. Maybe they do. Oh, man.
Later, Ernie. Have a good one.
Oh, man. We had a lot of fun tonight, Mark.
We always do, Lyle.
Oh, I know. You know, need to get a bunch of us together some night and talk about hunting. It comes up in a lot of shows, but the shows that it's coming up in are fishing shows and things like that. And there's a lot of people in our group that watch our shows that are on other shows that do a lot of hunting. And I would be interested in doing that with someone sometime if we could get several guys together and do that.
I'm sure maybe you could get a hold of Stu. I'm sure he'd like to be on the show.
Oh, yeah, probably so. He does a lot of outdoors.
Yeah, I just saw him. Where did he get a Lynx the other day? I saw a video.
Yeah.
I believe that was it. He's a good dude to have on.
Yep.
Obviously, the guys here in the group who hunt, Jerry's he hunts a lot. Ernie hunts a lot. Dockery hunts a lot. So
Sonny does. Thank you so much, Sonny, for joining us tonight. And if we get one going, we will count you in. That's right.
Jerry says hunting talk show would be all about that.
That we'll work on it. Maybe Sonny and you and me and Dockery and Parker and some of us can get together and see what we can come up with. It'd be whether it would take off and do any good or not remains to be seen, but it'd be a lot of fun to do one time for sure.
I'll read chat and I'll highlight chat since I don't hunt, or I haven't hunted, so. I'll be here. I'll be the MC, I guess.
Yeah, you're right, Frank. Outdoor folks doing outdoor folks things. That is 100% a fact. And it's like-minded people, whether they're fishing or hunting or sitting around a campfire. It doesn't matter. If you're like-minded, you'll get along. I promise. You know, you're always going to have a quarrel every now and then. Dockery.
Have you ever done any trapping, Lyle, outside of your own backyard, which we're not going to talk about?
That's the extent of my trapping right there.
That's the extent of it.
I'm pretty successful with it.
That I know. I knew that to get a smile out of you. But I heard somebody say just a couple of months ago that some fishermen hunt, some guys who hunt fish, but trappers all hunt and fish. So
I'd say that's probably a very true statement. I really would, yeah. I know James and James's daughter does a lot of trapping.
Mm.
Jolene, she does a lot of trapping. And she's just a kid. I'm trying to think how old she is, but I'm thinking 13, 12, 13. But she likes to go out and trap. And of course, one of the things that James and Jolene does that when they go live, I find extremely entertaining is they go to a place and snag Asian carp. And a lot of the ones that they're snagging are pan size. So we could say that this show would get away with it because they're not very big. They use it for dog feed. They use it for catfish bait. They use it for a lot of things. But to watch them catch them fish it looks to be too much fun. It really does. 13.
But she started when she was 5.
Yeah, I know she's been doing it a long time. Her and James fish a lot together. And maybe we can touch on this next week a little bit. But James, in Missouri, we have an award thing that you can get for catching certain size fish of every breed of fish that's in our state. And I know that James is an award holder for several of those. And several of his children are. Not that he has that many kids, but he's got 4, I believe. And I'm not sure about Bowen, but I know that James and Harley, and I think his older daughter have, and probably Jolene, all have some type of record fish in the state of Missouri. And that success rate is pretty damn good. You know.
Oh, 100%. It's hard to get a state record anything.
Yeah. But, they fish a lot. They release a lot. They eat a lot. They practice selective harvest, which is one of the greatest things that could ever be in the fishing industry. And I'm not saying you have to turn back every big fish you got, because once you catch it, it is yours. I prefer to turn the big ones back because I don't like to clean fish to start with. And if I got to waller it around like a butchering hog, I probably ain't never going to do it. But, I like the small ones. It doesn't matter if it's a small cow or small fish. Anything that's smaller, younger, is just better. That's just the way it is.
Definitely something to consider when you're harvesting anything, right, Lon?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But, James does so much with teaching kids how to fish and do all the stuff. And it shows because his kids are successful, and the people that he goes and does these classes, him and Katie does these classes with, they're very successful. It's something he enjoys doing. And he throws his time in it, doesn't make any money off of it. He does it because he likes to do it. And people like that are really special, even though he has a horrible attitude, especially towards me. And I'm nothing but nice to that guy. But we'll get into that next week.
You guys are going to have fun next week. I guarantee it. So make sure you guys tune in next week for the shenanigans. If not shenanigans, you're going to learn something, definitely.
Well, I hope to get James off on telling us about the teaching stuff that he does, and maybe we can hornswoggle him into telling us about where he goes and how he finds his ice fishing spots, because it appears to me like we got a lot of people that like to ice fish that watch our show, and he's really successful with it. So maybe he can give us some tips and stuff. And if not, he just tell us how he catches the damn fish. I'm okay with that because he catches a lot. 5,000. What was it, the year before last?
Yeah, I think so. That's
5,000 fish in 1 year.
25 of those were against my 0.
Let's see, what do I have here?
The gift that keeps on giving, isn't it, Lyle?
It is. Mark, it's been a great show tonight.
I had fun like always, bud. It's always a pleasure being on here with you, man.
It is. I want you and Sheila to have the greatest of vacation next week. You both.
I'll send you pictures.
I'm quite sure you will.
Did I tell you we got the drink package, Lyle? That's all I'm going to say.
Sweet. It'll be fun. You guys will enjoy it. Thanks everybody for watching Panfish Nation. This show had a lot of people watching tonight, and we're very happy that you guys tuned in to be with us. There's other things you can do on Wednesday nights and sit here and watch Mark and I make fun of James and Chad and whoever else have to show up. But we're so glad that you come in and spend your time with us. We have some guests coming up before long. Going to want to be here the week of, well, James will be here next week, and then the 31st we have Trey, right?
Yep, Trey from Fish Smack. It'll be
From
a good
Fish
show.
Smack. And I said this last week, but if you haven't went over to Fish Smack YouTube channel and check out the short he done where he was picking up trash on the creek bank, you might want to go take a look at that. At the time I watched that, I really thought it was the best short I'd ever seen. I enjoyed it. He done a great job. And he's a super nice guy, catches a lot of smallmouth bass. We'll have a lot of fun with Trey. And I don't know where he's at on subs. Did he ever get to his 1,000 mark?
Yeah, I think he did. I was on his channel the other day, and I did notice that he did. So good for him.
Okay, because we've always tried to help him get there, because for some reason it just didn't click. But man, that guy catches a lot of fish, and his
great content and good thumbnails. I don't know what's going on, but maybe he needs the watch hours or something. We'll find out on the week of the 30th.
Yeah, but he is an outstanding YouTube creator. If you haven't been to Fish Smack's show, go check him out. I promise you'll be impressed. Just super nice guy. In the summertime, he takes his dogs with him, and they walk down these creeks, and he catches fish, and he keeps catching fish. He can teach you some things if you want to catch smallmouth bass.
He's a great dude too. I've spoken with Trey quite a bit. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Parker Pursuit says, "Is there a Drunken Mark live in our future? Go check out Catfish and Crappie live channel. There just might be some."
I think there is one.
No, next week.
Next week. Well, we're running just over an hour, Mark. Thanks, everybody, for watching. It was a great time tonight, and we'll see you next week with James Dockery right here on Panfish Nation.
Keep warm, everybody. God bless.